Wow, what an intro that is. Hi, folks, it's Moz here on Airfix and Chill. And we've got a bit of a panel in tonight, and we've also invited Nigel's modelling bench into the mix. So, good evening, Nigel. How are you, my friend?
Hello, I'm great, thank you.
Good. I've tried to get you on for a few weeks now, and it's nice to actually get you here with your bottle of Bud Light in it or something that you drink.
No, it's not Bud Light. You can't say that. Not
Cause, yeah.
Do you know what? I actually drank a can of Bud Light on a video, and I had about 3 or 4 people unsubscribe.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Because I drank Bud Light.
Yeah. I'm a Budweiser man in a bottle, though. Basically,
I love Bud. Yeah.
So tonight we got a few missing because obviously it's bank holiday. I know there's some videos being premiered at the moment from other scale modelers, but we're going to crack on tonight. We've got Alex in from Man Models Moment. We've got John Alec from John Alec Scale Modeling. We've got Sully with his cracking little build there. Is that what you got there, Sully?
It's still the chip. Do you know what? This is the longest decal job I've done.
Yeah.
Because I've only done it on the live streams. I've done nothing the last 2 weeks.
It can't possibly be longer than the Airfix Seeking.
Well, I won't need those when I get it.
Is it bad, Alex?
No, it's good. It's just it took me about 5 and a bit hours to do all the decals on it. So
they go down nicely, though.
There's a lot.
They go down nicely.
We've also got James from Topoli Goes, who's an amazing Tamiya fan.
I'm not.
Issues.
I deny everything.
I deny everything. So yeah, we've got 7 in, but tonight we're going to try and aim more for the chat. And I've pinned the comments. So if you've got a question, we can't answer everybody's question, but keep it relevant to what we're talking about now. If you've got a question, put it in brackets. Or if you've got an opinion or something that you want to say about something that we're talking about, and I will try and get your message on the screen. Obviously, super chats, because they paid, they will get a question answered, obviously, because that's how it works. But obviously, anything you want to talk or share about the discussion tonight, which I think is quite going to be a good one, because I've done some bits of research and stuff, and I was quite appalled by Tamiya. Now, the question tonight is, are they still first in quality around the world, as they claim to be? And I'm not just talking about scale models in general. I'm talking about the whole Tamiya bubble, because remember, they do accessories, they do paints, they do primers, and if you want to go down this route, but me personally, I'm not willing to on this, the radial control market, you know, the amount of folks I know who use a lot of Tamiya parts for radial control, whether they're even building their own planes and stuff to fly, use Tamiya. And so the question is, are they still top of the hill? Because I get the impression that everybody judges now to Tamiya, but I think they've kind of dropped a little bit. So I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to ask the panel as well their thoughts on this, and your thoughts in the chat. Is Tamiya top of that king of the hill when it comes to scale modeling in this bubble? So put it out there. Who would like to go first?
Can I start by asking you a question, Moss?
Yeah, go on then.
How'd you get that little white label underneath your name?
Oh, you do it in the settings, mate. It should have had it. Comes up, but it should come up. Yeah, so you could have had.
You first go on, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when you first go on, yeah, because that's it. That's right. That's an easy question, that one. So go on in, Alex, because actually, Alex, I think you're primed for this, because I watched your video or heard you talk about the F-35 that came up from Tamiya, and you never put it top of the pile, did you? You actually put it as is it second or third place?
Second, yeah.
Second place.
It's the best F-35A in 72nd scale you can get, but the Academy F-35B is a better overall buy.
Is it right?
It's got, I mean, the ram tape is more subtle on the Academy. You get more stuff in the box. The quality is the same. So, I mean, to answer the general question, have Tamiya slipped? I don't think necessarily Tamiya have slipped at all. I think they've remained pretty constant, and I think that's one of the reasons they've got the reputation they have, is that they have been consistently high quality. As a lot of Japanese manufacturers and companies in general, they set high standards to achieve them. I just think the rest of the world has caught up, and in some cases is overtaking them. And I don't, again, like a lot of Japanese companies, that they react particularly quickly to market change. So I think they are. I think they're still up there, definitely. But depending where you're looking at, they're either top or they're slipping down the chain a little bit. That's what I.
That's a good call. I think scale model companies look at Tamiya and think we need to get there. But I think one company that's got there and is actually giving more when it comes to value for money, and that's Edard. I think Edard have got the balance absolutely spot on. And that's one of the things I keep saying. When people they claim this sort of stuff that, oh, you get this with Tamiya, you get that with Tamiya, but you're also paying a premium for those extra bits. But with Edard, you just seem to, and I think Armour Obby as well, you kind of get it all in the box. What's your thoughts, Nigel?
My thoughts, like Alex said, I totally agree. The trouble is the Tamiya, they've got to a point and they remain consistent. The one thing you must remember, I have heard, I'm not sure how true this is, but plastic kit sales apparently is only about 2% of Tamiya's total sales overall. Really? Apparently their major market is Asia with the radio controlled stuff, and that's because it's so cheap. You can go to Japanese websites and you will see 6th scale Tamiya motorbike kits for like £37. It's just crazy. So they're very, very cheap in Asia. They're very, very expensive over here because their distributors are making a killing, just like every English distributor does. But like Alex said, they are absolutely up there. They're the top. I mean, I've just looked before I came on Amazon. You could get that SAS pink Land Rover, the Pink Panther one, for $12.95. Now you compare the quality of that to something for $12.95 from the likes of Revell, Italeri, Airfix. It's way up there. Yeah. And that's another thing I will say to compliment Tamiya. What I do like about them, which no other company does, they bring out a lot of new. Well, they don't bring out a lot of new kits. They bring out new kits, but the old kits, like the old Panther and the 88mm flat gun, all the stuff you can get in Hobbycraft, it's all stayed. The price has stayed down. It hasn't gone up. And they don't re-release crap like Revell do and put it in a new box.
Yeah. You got a question about that, haven't you, James? Because you're not that impressed with some of the toolings that they box out.
Well, I was having a look at the M41 Walker Bulldog this morning. This is today, the 135th. It says it's not copyright 1976 on the box. Opened the box, looked through it again. The engineering, the lower hull has 1976 2019 on it, the dates, copyright. And then on the sprues, 1973. And then I'm looking on Scale Mates, and it's 1969.
Wow.
I've
got that in my stash, actually, that M41 Walker. But Tamiya, I don't know what steel that Tamiya use. I think they use the same steel that Matchbox use, because their kits don't seem to age, do they? If you think about it, the quality is still there. We saw this with the 1:100 scale planes that me and Matt from Model Minutes looked at. They had recessed panel lines, and there was hardly any flash on those 1969 kits, whatever it was. So they must look after their tooling really well, or they manufacture so many of them and they keep them in storage and then release them as they go. If you see what I mean.
I've got history in injection molding, from an engineering side of things, and I can tell you now, there's a company out there called Hasco that make a lot of parts for mold tools. They make the basic steel that you machine into. Yeah. And that's like the Rolls Royce. And then there's other companies out there that probably a lot of the Chinese manufacturers use that isn't anything like a Sharp. And that's probably what it is.
Yeah. Maybe. As I said, that's what it is. And that's what it is. But I said, even like the Matchbox kit I unboxed from Revell, the first diorama, there was hardly any flash on that, and it was crisp as it was back in 1970, if you know what I mean. So I was wondering whether there's a certain texture or a certain steel or tooling that really does last the test of time.
A lot of the short run companies use aluminium tooling because it's so easy to machine.
Yeah,
it's lighter and it's cheaper. The trouble is, it's getting hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. It loses its edge, and that's why you'll find. I mean, look at that company called Mac 2. French company, must be the worst model manufacturer on the planet. I think their models are made of plastic. Awful. That's awful. Absolutely awful.
Yeah. So, what was your last kit you built then, Alex? What was your last Tamiya kit you built?
Last Tamiya kit, Panzer II, the old Panzer II, which cost me a tenner. $9.95, I think it was, for a model show. And it's still a nice little kit, and that goes to the consistent quality. And I can imagine as well, having worked for a Japanese company for quite a long time, back at the start of my career, I imagine those tools are, when they're manufactured, they're very well treated. I can imagine everybody wears white gloves when they handle them. It's a very Japanese kind of approach. So in terms of keeping the quality of the molds, I can imagine that is, they would go for a high quality steel or a high quality manufacturer, or whatever it is. I don't know the exact sort of details of how Tamiya do stuff, but I imagine they're going for the top end of stuff, and they'll treat it well. If you think about Revell and Airfix, the old Airfix toolings, I mean, they've been kicked around the block a lot, because of, going bankrupt, molds being moved to France, moving back, moving to India, bits being lost. So it's not really surprising that some of those look a bit rough, even if they weren't up to the standard of Tamiya to start with. So it's not really comparing eggs with eggs, I think. But again, I think that's why Tamiya have the reputation, because way back, Mr. Tamiya decided to make the best reproductions he could, and that philosophy has remained in the company. But as I say, I think now there are a lot of companies that are aspiring to the same thing. Airfix is an obvious one. Just finished the Sea King, lovely kit. I'm doing also finishing the ICM 148th Beaufort, again, equal to anything I've ever done from Tamiya. So it's as we mentioned a couple of episodes ago in Beyond the Box, Moss, it's we live in a golden age of modeling, which is great for us, but it just means more competition for the likes of people like Tamiya. There's a lot of stuff out there.
We've had some opinions put in, like Steve Stuff said, some of Tamiya's old 1970 kits are still excellent quality. The 1977 135th Churchill is still inexpensive, very highly detailed, and goes together like a dream. Fair comment on that one. Penny's Pit Stop says, Tamiya's always been good for me, but some of their new Airfix kits and the ICM kits are serious contenders. However, Tamiya are consistently good. So, that's the thing. When was the last time you've seen a short shot on a Tamiya kit?
That's what I was just about to say, Moss, is, my Westland Sea King brand new kit, we got advanced samples, still production kit samples from Airfix on the release day, and mine was short shot on one of the fuselage sides. So Airfix need to get hold of the QC in India and really slap them about, because that's letting them down, because they're aspiring to Tamiya quality in all other aspects and surpassing them in some ways, I think. And that QC is letting them down. Japanese are absolutely up there with QC. I've worked for a lot of American companies that have implemented Japanese protocols, the Tamiya, the Toyota way, and all these kinds of things to improve their quality. So they're known as doing this. So,
every single business improvement tool in it is Japanese. You've got Kaizen, you've got Shainin, 5S, Ichikawa, something is called. Every single Rolls-Royce did a thing called the 40-day engine. So you could build an engine in 40 days. It was totally based on Toyota.
Really?
Toyota GR Yaris. If you go on YouTube and look, they're hand built. And there's a video camera follows them around the factory. and everybody's wearing white gloves. Everybody's got a hat on. They're all working to strict work instructions. All the tools there. It's absolutely foolproof. It's just amazing.
Yeah, let's say quality control. Is like to you will not believe how fecked off I was that my Lamborghini Hurricane, my starter set, turned up, got the plastic out. The glass was in a plastic bag separate inside.
It's scratched,
Opened up the plastic, and it was fucking scratched. They spent all that time and effort putting that glass in a separate plastic bag, and it was already scratched.
Yeah.
Piss fucking poor.
I
think I know the reason why. I've found the company who they use in India. They can deny it. If Airfix say we're not using it, that's fine. But I found the company. I went looking, and they're advertising the fact that they make Airfix product. Even their video shows them making the tins for the Humber enamel paint in this factory. The problem is that factory does a shitload of stuff for Hasbro. So my argument will be this company, Airfix, pocket change, Hasbro, got to be right. Where's Airfix? Where's Airfix leverage in that company now in India?
Yeah.
When that company's putting out all this, they do all the Nerf stuff for Hasbro. They're doing a load of Star Wars stuff. They've got their own in-house. They do it all there, but the quality isn't there. Now, I had an email the other day. I'm not going to mention his name because he's quite close in the community. He said they're saying that the Airfix plastic in India is the same as the Airfix plastic in England. He said, get the new Spitfire 124th and get the Buccaneer 148th and just sand them. The Spitfire sounds like a dream. The Buccaneer, it shreds. The plastic shreds when you sand it. It's not the same plastic. They're saying it is.
I had to say with Luke at Avon, it's not the same plastic. It's a specification. And I could tell you there's one big thing we have to remember here as well. One of the reasons Tamiya are up there is because they put quality first and customer satisfaction. Airfix would probably put cost first. I mean, this thing here, this 124 cat, I don't know if anybody else here has built one of these, but I have wrestled my ass off to get this wing together.
Really?
Drum bays and everything inside. And the trouble is with this kit in particular, because of, as you know, building one online, lots and lots of people have emailed me. And it's absolutely amazing. You'll have a guy in America who's got one, and the second bulkhead won't fit. On mine, the first bulkhead wouldn't fit. Somebody else, the tail bulkhead won't fit. There's people with fuselage halves that are flat. And I reckon they're taking them out of the mold, putting them on the table, and just stacking them up. So the ones at the bottom are being squashed while they're still curing.
Yeah.
I think Fenris had an issue with the wings, Nige.
Sorry?
He did.
I think
Fenris had an issue with the wings.
had an issue with the wings.
Who?
Fenris.
Fenris models on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Fenris, yeah. He was building it online, wasn't he? He was building it on the chat one night, and he had awful trouble with it.
Yeah, see, this is my second one, and the other one was all right.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I mean, I'm doing this as well I'm like a bloody Airfix fanboy sat here. I'm doing this for a beginner build thing.
Yeah.
And I put it together, and the upper wing is molded with, the upper wing is one piece, the lower wing is one piece, brilliant design, but the upper wing is about 2 millimeters shorter than the lower wing. It's shrinkage.
So just say when it comes to quality, I'm going to go. I don't want to just stick to Airfix and Tamiya. I know Tamiya is there, but like when I was watching, I actually put it in the video. I said when they explained to us at Plastech where the Spitfire was made, why when they get it out of the tooling, it goes straight on the green, the gauge one, and they look at it, make sure it's all complete, and it gets bagged straight away. And the reason they bag it straight away is because of it's electrostatic, and it will pull all the dirt and all the crap onto the plastic. What they do is they inspect it, do a little thing, and they bag it straight away and seal it. It's bagged and sealed straight away to stop any impurities getting onto that plastic. And this is what I'm saying is that they've opened up the box now, saying we've built this Spitfire in England for £95.
Yeah.
Right, £95 for that 124 Spitfire. So they've got to be making the monies as well. They've proved the point that making it in England isn't that far away.
But look at the supply issues they had.
Yeah.
That Sea King will come out on the 30th, as they're saying, and everyone in the world will have one. Well, everyone in the UK will have one. Remember when that Spitfire came out? I had an email from the model shop where I got one from, and they were only sending them 12. So the first 12 people who signed up got one, and the other people had to wait a month. You don't get that from India.
Well, the trouble with that is, this is what the trouble with that is, and I've seen the point. They've only making one tool, so that one tool is taking 45 seconds to make one sprue, and you've got the three machines doing that, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
In India, they probably put the Sea King into production 5 months ago, and they spent the last 5 months filling that one container full of Sea Kings to get it out there. With the Spitfire, because it was already here, they announced it with, say, 1,000 units made, and then went with it, if you see what I mean. Which kind of, I can see that why they did that. But with the Sea King, they already had it in production ready, and then they announced it by getting 50 over. And they said, we won't announce it until we're ready to send them over. And it was on the boat when they announced it. But when it was made in this country, they probably jumped the gun a little bit, thinking, oh, we've already got 1,000 units here, just get them out. And that's what they did. So I kind of see both sides of the argument. There was supply issues. But remember, there's only like, it's not like they've used one machine. They've got a range of machines at Plastech pushing this stuff out. And in India, it says only one tool of each sprue, isn't it? So no matter, it depends on how many machines are running on. So say a machine has, say a model kit has 6 toolings, they probably have 6 machines banging them out.
A lot of kits, you'll have a sprue this big.
Yeah.
One tool making 2 sprues.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I see that point, but the point's proven. So at the moment, Tamiya's got the quality, they've got the accuracy. Do you feel then that they've come to a level and they've not moved up? Everybody else is caught up with them almost in that respect. What's your thoughts, Sean Alec? You're being a bit quiet. So, you build Tamiya. What's your thoughts on Tamiya?
Yeah, I really like Tamiya. So, I've sort of built them kind of my whole modeling career. And I think, when I buy a Tamiya kit, they tend to be sort of in my price range. And it's just that sort of that brand trust. I know if I get when it comes to armor, I think they have their work cut out for them. There's a lot of, say, new armor that's coming out that's just absolutely fantastic. Their Comet is still probably the best kit I've ever bought, ever built. Planes and stuff. I think with cars, for plastic cars, for me, they're still the best. They're still the best. I mean, certainly, Revel, AMT, PMC, all that kind of stuff. Italieri. When I know I buy especially a modern Tamiya car, I know it's just going to go together like a dream. And they're more. I've just kind of started getting into their bikes just for mojo builds, and putting these Tamiya bikes together is fantastic. So, cars and bikes, yeah, absolutely. I think they're still a bit untouchable there, but with other genres like the tanks and the planes. There's a lot of really high quality offerings now from new toolings. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Do you find Tamiya expensive where you are, John, because of the MAP that they brought out, the advertising policy?
No, not really. I don't find them any. They're not really more expensive than other models over here. Tend to be a little bit pricey. You know, if you buy them full retail, they tend to be a bit pricey anyways. I mean, you know, if I go to my brick and mortar shop and I buy even just a run of the mill AMT car, it's $25. I'm looking at $25 no matter what. I can get a new Tamiya car that's a new tooling that I know is going to go together like a dream. And they're like, you know, 39 or 40 bucks, which is what, 30, less than 30 pounds where you are. So, you know, if something's 20 pounds there, it's $30.
They're not that cheap here.
Yeah.
No.
So,
yeah. So I just work because we don't have that policy because we're not in Europe now, but it's classed as anti-competitiveness that you can't say you've got say that Comet is like $60. The lowest you can advertise selling it for is $40, but that doesn't stop you from selling it for $20 when they get in the shop. If you see what I mean.
Yes.
But you can't advertise.
You just can't advertise.
They're like, so but what they're trying to do is fake their value by making sure you don't sell it below the price that they want you to sell it for, if you see what I mean.
Whereas over here, they just rip you off.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing with an MAP is it just makes you look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the way that you control any distributor, I've been a distributor manager, an international distributor manager before, and the way you control pricing is through your distributor pricing and you know, your order volumes and stuff. It's not by constraining your outlets. You know, you want them to sell as much as possible. In the UK, that is constrained. I wouldn't sell a Tamiya kit for 30% discount, principally because I wouldn't make any money at all on it. It would cost me money because as Nigel said, the wholesalers are making their money on it, and actually I make less on Tamiya kits than anything else. Any other distributor I make more on any other kit. And this is actually one of the areas I think that Airfix is to be lauded, is that their resale policy is actually pretty good. I know they they kind of compete directly, but kind of, you know, it's kind of not. But you make more money on Airfix kits and actually Revell than anything else. Tamiya,
really?
If you had to run your business just based on selling Tamiya, it would be hard work. You don't make a lot.
Are there any companies out there that stop you discounting? Say you cannot.
I don't think that's. I don't think it's legal.
Oh,
they can constrain discounts within a release date. So, for instance, if you've got a brand new kit, they can say you can't discount it more than X% within the first 30 days, for instance.
Right.
You know. That's fine. I mean, as a retailer, why would you want to devalue the price of the product you're selling? Because you're just eating into your product profit. Which
Jadland do it.
Well, Jadland do it. They're mainly online. You know, their volume comes from online, so they're not got the same overheads as a small shop. You know.
I know many years ago I worked in a car radio shop, Uplands Car Radios in Bristol. They had branches all over the country, and two perfect examples was Pioneer. And Pioneer, if you discounted their items in the shop, so Pioneer took their stock away from you. You could no longer sell Pioneer. But what's the other company? I can't get the name now. Another Japanese company. We used to, oh God, what are they called? But we used to be able to discount them like 40-50% because we paid like 30% for them. It's like a 70% markup.
Wow.
Panasonic. You could discount them to
Panasonic,
the
yeah.
house. They didn't care. But wasn't there something? Why did Hobbycraft lose their contract with Airfix? Wasn't that to do with
They wouldn't agree. They wouldn't agree to sale of terms of sale. They pulled out.
Right.
So they must have gone in hard, thinking, oh, well, Hobbycraft. Hobbycraft is one of the most expensive places to buy model equipment and accessories than ever before. I go to Hobbycraft, reluctantly. And also, the trouble is, when you're in Hobbycraft, getting something that you desperately need, you end up looking at the kits and stuff and seeing, the prices were incredible, so it's you've got to make a trip of it, obviously. So, but
the only time I ever buy from Hobbycraft is when they have their 50% off sale.
Yeah.
Or if you're absolutely desperate, you've run out of matte black, you go and get a bottle of matte black.
Yeah.
For me, it's in an emergency.
Yeah.
Only if I have to.
Yeah. But they don't have a lot of stock in there anyway. The Tamiya range is piss poor, which is a shame, because if they wanted to really hit the scale model, it's to really invest in the Tamiya accessories, which brings me on, their paints. Years ago, well, maybe even 5 years ago, if you had Tamiya XF and X, you were chuffed as punch. And then when you start using their LP range, you end up with a stiffy, because it's quality paint. But we're seeing more paints coming onto the market now, and I think they are surpassing what Tamiya are giving us. I think attacker paint is sublime. I think so. You got to thin it down a bit. MRP, I've never used it, but when I talk to people at model shows, I've used MRP on this. It's got massive. You've got SMS coming through now, which from Australia, which is a lacquer paint as well. But as I say, at the end of the day, Tamiya, what's Tamiya going to bring on? They've not said they're going to reformulate their paint, or they just stick to their paint, as what it is now, and just at least increase the range of paint, I suppose. But I think they're quite happy with what they're selling now, and it's not necessarily expensive either, though, is it? Was it £3 a pot? Tamiya paint.
Actually, like a guy said in my Outlaw comments today, he said the Tamiya paint is £2.50 for 10 milliliters. This is 30 milliliters for £5.50, so makes it look pretty cheap, really. But then I said, Tamiya paint, you thin 50-50, sometimes up to 70%, so you're getting twice as much. But then you've got to pay for the thinner. So it's my only bugbear with Tamiya paint is the color range.
So limited color
range. Blue grey FS 34179. They just do blue grey, and they do grey blue, and they do greenish grey. They don't do. Like Mr. Hobby do a full range of FS colours, as do MRP, as will Outlaw, no doubt.
Yeah, I've moved from Tamiya to Mr. Color, Mr. Hobby. I've even started to use some of the AK 3rd Gen or AK Real. I basically just use Tamiya paints now when I have to use an acrylic, right? It's an alcohol-based acrylic, but I've really transitioned to Mr. Color, and ounce for ounce, they're at most the same price. I can get on Scale Hobbyist and get a pot of Mr. Color paint for like $2 and change. Yeah.
And of course, with Tamiya paint, you can chuck it in the airbrush. You could chuck anything with it to thin it, and it works every time.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Mix it with water.
Yeah. Like some of these other paints, that Mission Hobbies, you have to use special thinners and special this and special that. Get them like consistent. Oh Christ, no.
Yeah. You can pretty much thin Tamiya with. You can use their thinner. You can use the Mr. Hobby thinner, which is their alcohol based, and then of course their Mr. Color thinner and Mr. Color leveling thinner just work beautiful with Tamiya.
Yeah. The only thing that's lacking in these is bloody pink primer. Give us a decent pink primer and we'll buy it. Mr. Hobby do it, but it's very hard to get hold of.
Yeah. And it's the same price everywhere.
Yeah, I paid $12 for this. It was really hard. It's very hard to come by, but this is their that's the same
what
stuff.
I mean. But it's hard to get hold of, mate.
Yeah.
It's
Is it?
not cheap. Yeah.
Premium Hobbies have it. Do Premium Hobbies have it in stock?
I thought they didn't. When I went looking,
I was saying this to Jim over at Sprue Box, and I said in my video today, we need an alternative black primer because the Mr. Finishing Surfacer Black is becoming hen's teeth. And now because of that, the MRP is becoming hen's teeth. So now we need a black primer that's going to replace both of them.
what did you think of the black primer from Outlaw Paints?
Wow.
Yeah.
If I was spraying like 1/350th scale shit photo etch, I would use MRP because it's much thinner.
Yeah.
But if you were just priming an aircraft, like the Sea King or something, I would use that all day long. Yeah.
Yeah. Pink primer. I can't see it on the site, mate.
Yeah, they put it on the site.
Is it for sale?
Yeah.
Is it available?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, don't forget NMB10, you get 10% off, Moss.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I've used £7.30 though. £7.30.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's is it 50 mil?
Yeah. I was just saying, it's a lot. There's a lot of money involved in that pink primer. It's wanted all over. You could probably buy it off Premium Hobbies and sell it on eBay for 14 quid. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I haven't been on in a while. What is the appeal behind the pink primer? I don't see it personally.
If you're using reds, so for red, I have it right here. I used it for this red, and it's absolutely beautiful under red. So better than gray, better than certainly better than black. And so I think that's the limited appeal is for maybe, I don't know about yellows, but oranges. So if you're painting oranges or you're painting reds or I guess the Barbie mobile, then it does work great. But
not necessarily just for me, but for other people who don't really understand it either. Because I'm still new to it, everything, primer and all that sort of stuff. Only just getting into it all, so I didn't know that.
One of the beauties with pink primer is if you're doing something like the Sea King and it's grey, and you want to see where you're priming, black is no good as for showing up problems. This has had a quick primer to show up any seam issues and that. I found a couple. Black is no good. You can't see it. And because it's grey plastic, you might want to use pink so you can see where you've painted it.
Oh, yeah.
So, under red, I would always use yellow.
Yeah, red and yellow.
I would probably use pink on this saying that because this is the HU5, the red and grey, and I'm not sure if that red is really red or if it's got a bit of orange in it. I'm not sure.
Is there any kits
What's a kit?
Is there any kits that Tamiya still released that aren't accurate, or are they all still pretty accurate?
They're Harrier. They're Sea Harrier, isn't it?
Harrier.
Shit. What else is there?
I think one of the tanks is very wrong.
What? Sorry.
I think one of the tanks is very wrong.
Yeah, but this is the thing, you see. As soon as Revell make a mistake, typical Revell shit. When Tamiya make a mistake, but it's only a one-off.
We do cut them slack, right?
I mean, wasn't there that pamphlet that had the tracks that didn't fit very well? That you kind of had to buy another set of tracks for it because the original tracks didn't work.
Oh, right.
And that's up to my brother. I think it was Panther A, I think it was. And the tracks didn't fit at all.
Yes,
so he had to buy
the tracks for it.
Yeah.
So he had to buy the tracks again separately by Tamiya. He was a little bit upset about it. Well, as you would be.
Fair enough. Hobbycraft used to sell Revell milling wings for $4.99. Just going through some. A lot of people are agreeing with the pink primer, which is good. Oh, Fenris is off. Stay safe during the upcoming hurricane, mate. Hope everything's all safe for you there and the family safe.
And remember to follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah. Hey, Sonic, you're a Tamiya fan, though, aren't you? You're up there with Tamiya with their paints.
I like Tamiya.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years I've moved to Edard, but I mean, I'll always suggest Tamiya to somebody that's, I wouldn't exactly say new, but kind of been doing it for a little bit. Who was it? Somebody else who said, it was a Champion, wasn't it? Champion Models. He was saying it suggested 48 Tamiya to new starters, which I kind of agree with a little bit. But I can't say I've ever had an issue with one. I think they've always gone together really well. But over the years, I'm pretty much an Edard fanboy.
Go. I was just going to say, that's what I'm trying to get to point. You know, with Tamiya, when you've got like sort of Edard and Meng with their, or is it? Somebody said that they're called Mung. Is that right? Meng. They actually say it as Mung.
Ming, I think.
No, but somebody on the other day, was it Dogs Models, whatever he called. He said it's Mung.
I've heard all of them. Ming, Meng, Mong.
Meng, yeah. Steady on.
Just say it.
Is it Tamiya or is it Tamiya?
Well,
Tamiya.
Tamiya.
That was Tamiya.
Tamiya. Yeah.
There's no inflection.
Is there any?
It's a syllabic language. It's Tamiya. Yeah.
Tamiya.
Sorry.
Tamiya. Fair enough. So is there any kits that we can sell, or any manufacturers now that go better than Tamiya? Any that you think they really something that's better than Tamiya? Edard.
I'll always say Edard. I think
that border model 135th Stuka.
Yeah.
Is the best plastic model kit I've ever built in my life.
Really? Yes. What price was it though?
Well, that's the thing. This is where the distributors come in. You could buy that kit when it came out on eBay from China with free postage for £40. Over here it was £7. So figure. I know how much Albion Hobbies pay for that border models Lancaster, and I know what they sell it to the distributors for. And it's
crazy.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not really doing anything, are they?
No.
They're not. They haven't got a problem.
The problem with asking a question about, what's better than Tamiya is it depends on what you class as better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would say at the moment, Airfix, certainly for the UK market, right? Because Airfix pricing varies, Tamiya pricing varies. So I can only really talk about my local market. I think Airfix offers a better value proposition, in terms of what you get for the price than Tamiya does. Edward, I think, are way up there. I mean, if you look at I got a weekend edition P39, I think it was £15, 1/48 scale, not 1/72. £15. It's incredible. It's absolutely beautiful.
They're the worst instructions, though, aren't they? And Edard instructions, pretty crap.
No.
It didn't strike
I thought it was the decals that were the worst bit.
The decals are, but the hang on, I bet find a bit.
You've got to remove you've got to peel the layer off afterwards, haven't you?
Yeah, it's terrible. I that's one thing I hate about Edard is their new decals.
Can I just ask you, Alex? Was that kit an Edward kit or was it a reboxing?
Good question. I think it was an Edward kit. Right. I'd have to check. I think it's around here.
I built their Typhoon, and that was a Hasegawa reboxing, and the seat wouldn't even fit in the hole in the fuselage. It was like the Edward stuff was 32nd scale, and the kit was 48.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're just looking at price or an easy build, it depends. There are better technical kits out there, but you might pay more for them. It depends what you're after in modeling, really, doesn't it? I mean, somebody might like, speak to John Alec about sanding individual shell rounds. I mean, if you like that, then.
Well, this is what I said about. People keep telling me that Mini Art are the best tanks than Tamiya are. You know, Tamiya's tanks showing their age.
If you want to spend all your time sanding individual tank rounds and making tracks out of 3,000 pieces, not everybody wants that.
It's like Tamiya will make a towing hook for the back of a tank in one piece. They might even mold it onto the rear panel. Someone like RFM will have 5 pieces of photo etch to represent that towing hook, and it's not impossible to put together because it's poorly designed, the brass is crap, and it's badly manufactured. But can I just ask Alex another question? When you say about price comparisons and quality, the two kits I always put side by side, both 48 scale, both jets, both similar prices. Airfix Buccaneer versus F-35A from Tamiya.
Oh,
I don't think they are similar price.
Sorry?
I don't think they are a similar price. The Tamiya is $99.99 RRP, I think, and
a few months ago it was 85 quid.
And you can get the Buccaneer for under 60. So I still think there's a big price differential. I think this is Moss and I talked about this again with the Tamiya F4 Phantom. Similar kind of question, and I had a commenter on one of my channels say it as well. And I still think there's a bit of. I think this is where the Tamiya rose-colored glasses come in a little bit. Is that it's like, oh, you can get this from Tamiya for this price, without actually figuring that into other manufacturers as well. They're still a good 20-25% more expensive in most direct comparisons, I would say.
But in this country, in the UK, you just said something a lot of people say. RRP on the Tamiya is $99.99, but you can get the Buccaneer for 60 quid. What's the RRP on the Buccaneer?
$72.49, I think.
Right, and the RRP on the other one is $99.99. You reckon? I'm sure it's less than that, but then you've got a shop. What would I know?
I think you have to see what This is the. I still think that Tamiya inflate their price to our eyes because of you see what's happening in America, and they're going to and you see, if you want you can see the policy in all of its glory. If you want to, I'll share the screen because it is a bit to me it's a bit of a piss take.
But Tamiya is in the USA.
Or is it too? This is the map policy from Tamiya. If I share it, can you see that now? So the new map the new map policy price list is above, so you can click on that and get the price list. And the minimum advertised pricing policy. The policy acknowledges that Tamiya America Incorporated products are positioned as first in quality around the world in order to preserve its reputation for providing customers with high quality products, strong after sales support, customer service, and to further enhance the Tamiya brand image in North America and its competitiveness in the marketplace. Tamiya America Incorporated is unilaterally instituting a policy of minimum advertised price standards for Tamiya products imported into the United States by Tamiya America Incorporated. And it is, and that's what they're saying. They're doing it to position themselves to the eye, because at the end of the day, advertising pricing policy, most people look online for the price of products. And if they see Tamiya at a certain price, they would think, oh, it's that price because it's quality. When in fact, it doesn't mean that at all, does it? In the eyes of people, they're inflating the value of what a Tamiya kit really is. If you see what I mean. I think they're forcing their hand on this to say that, we think our product's worth this much. And to the eye of the beholder online, we all do it. Crumbs, we all get hoodwinked occasionally on buying crap online because we think it's good value. But now we're seeing it the opposite direction, where you see something price high, you think it's going to have such quality than it actually is. Or am I looking at it too robustly in that respect?
I just think as I said before, I don't know whether they're artificially inflating it. I just think it's a dick move. It's, I think it's a very poor way to try and manage things. It's almost like trying to manage people by a PDF or an order. It's yeah. I mean, market forces should determine what happens in the market, not some diktat.
Yeah, they are dictating in a very strong, because basically, and even in black and white, it says there, violators will be terminated.
That's a bit extreme.
Gosh.
Tamiya's sales rep will be going around with the katana and beheading the bloody people, won't he?
Yeah.
Offer the sword to fall upon.
Yeah.
But so they're saying all this. But when was the last time Tamiya was at a model show in this country, apart from being under the umbrella of what's it called? Well, who's the company that imports them over here? I'm trying to think what the company is.
Hobby company.
Yeah, the hobby company. That's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. they had it there, didn't they, on their stand, the F-35A. But I don't know. I just think the way they've gone about it, I think it's a bit disgraceful. And it clearly states they're doing it to preserve the brand.
Yeah.
To make it look.
Really, they should just be working with people that they believe, represent that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand it if they've got some people running around, selling them like their bargain basement things, but then don't work with those people. Don't implement some draconian countrywide MAP, because that just makes you look like a bunch of arseholes. Yeah.
I mean, surely they've started like Airfix put their starter sets in. I don't know if Airfix do it, if they're buying them from a distributor, but like their starter sets in Lidl and stuff. Now, I doubt if Mr. Tamiya would like to see his kits being sold in Lidl or Waitrose or
we would.
We would, yeah.
Yeah, we would, yeah. But Revell put their kits in there. We've seen Revell kits in Lidl before, But I think Airfix pulled a frigging blinder this time because the tanks in those starter sets were the new tooling tanks. So if you wanted to build the Sherman Firefly or a Tiger One, you would, as a newbie, they are the simplest kits to buy.
And it goes together a dream as well.
And
it's so good.
Together like a dream. There's the Tiger, there's the Sherman.
I've always said I think Airfix should move away from 1/72nd scale aircraft in their starter sets. I think they're far too fiddly for somebody who's new to the hobby.
You say that, but I've just been building. For God's sake, I just dropped my thing. I've just been building their F-35, and that's 1/72nd scale. And they've molded. Okay, so they've molded this bit. There's one big bit, and there's not much cockpit, but somehow they've managed to mold a cockpit that looks really nice, and this goes together really easily with very few fiddly bits. Okay, maybe I didn't do the landing gear down, but it could be fiddly, but it doesn't look like it. Look at it; it's big.
The landing gear isn't that fiddly.
Tiny little doors.
Yeah.
The first bit I did, you'll see the video. The first bit I did had a problem because the undercarriage bay was all so I had to bend it all straight on out before it would fit.
Yeah.
But, I think they should do their 1/48 scale kits as starter sets.
But
it's all about the price.
Yeah, but that actually brings up an interesting point, though. He said using a Tamiya pointed cotton bud to make it. Well, actually, it's not a Tamiya one; it's an off-brand. Tamiya's range is actually fairly focused. And again, Moss and I have discussed this before.
Yeah.
They don't do 72nd scale tanks. They just don't do them. They do 35th, and they've relatively recently started doing 48th, expanding that range. They don't do 72nd. It's like the range of 1/72nd aircraft is actually relatively small.
Yeah.
So they are pretty much focused on, they do this stuff and that's what they do. Whereas if you look at somebody like, and they do obviously all the cars, whereas, Airfix do a much broader range, I would say. they go out into different stuff. Maybe
John
that's
Parker.
a strength, maybe that's a weakness, or maybe that's why Tamiya are able to focus on that quality, because they've restricted themselves. They're not going to suddenly start doing, I don't know, 1/200 scale sailing ships or something like that.
Yeah. John Parker's just put a really good point up. A lot of Tamiya aircraft in 72nd artillery kits.
Yeah.
But does anybody ever complain about that? Because artillery they're not the best, are they, artillery? But
and they're bloody expensive as well.
But also, if they're boxing, artillery, and people say, look at this is Tamiya. Well, no, it's, but nobody seems to pick fault at those artillery kits in the Tamiya box, which goes to prove my point that if Airfix put a Tamiya kit in their box, in an Airfix box, people would think it's a load of shit. But some people, you put an Airfix kit in a Tamiya box, they'll think it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean? I think brand is a big thing, isn't it, really, in scale modeling? And we're seeing it time and time again. There are people who will refuse blankly and troll me on my channel of the fact that they will never, ever build another Airfix kit again as long as they have a hole in their ass. And that's
I think that's a bit of like cutting your nose off to spite your face, though, isn't it? It's just like I made that video recently about Airfix, after the press day that we had. And the thing is, Airfix is not the company it was 20 years ago. It's not the same people. It's not the same owners. It's not the same tooling or anything like that. So why would you not buy from ICM, or would you not buy from, I don't know, a new company that starts? It's just like, why would you deny yourself the possibility of having a decent model?
Just don't ever buy Mac 2.
Yeah.
Do yourself that.
Again, if Mac 2 was bought out by another company or got new management and stuff and invested in new tools, I wouldn't not buy Mac 2 because of the prior shit. I would give them a chance.
If Mac 2 brought out 72nd scale, I don't know, C17, it was awesome. I'll buy it. Yeah. I'd have to see it.
James, just on that with the Airfix F35B would make a good kit for Lidl. Now, on average, an Airfix starter set from Airfix is between $8.99 and $9.99 if you bought the Spitfire, the Red Arrow, the Hurricane. But when they do it for Lidl and Aldi, they're done at cost. That F35B for a starter set is 20 quid, right? All but penny, right? And there's a reason why it is, because it's got the two brushes, got the extra paint. On a starter set kind of pricing, it's very much, I think that's just outside the realms of a starter set price. So yeah, the idea is there, but I don't think they wouldn't be able to ship that F35B for £6.99 or $8.99 in Aldi or Lidl. And also, $15 they probably could.
Yeah.
But then they've just released it now it's only doing this year. So give it 5 years, you may see it in there. It's the possibilities are endless with that F35B. And they could, in theory, they could release that with different schemes and all sorts, couldn't they? It's I think that was a good choice from Airfix to put that in a starter set range, because just looking at the aircraft, it's going to be two halves. It's going to be like a submarine, in it, two halves stuck together, and just look at the pins up.
That's exactly what it is.
And then, but also they've got that stand with it as well, which I think, I think Airfix or Pramjet has created some of the best looking display stands, or shadow stands as they call them, than anybody's done in the last 10 years. Better than the what was it called, the Star Trek ones of yesteryear. You know what I mean? It's like, to boldly go, like, you know what I mean? It's yeah. But
something I was very surprised, Moss, with this Hurricane.
Yeah,
the molding on it is absolutely superb. The panel lines and the fabric effect on the wings and everything is absolutely stunning. Yeah, there's inaccuracies. There should be metal plates in the wings behind the gun bays, but who cares? But the pilot figure is like it come out of some of the 1950s.
Yeah.
It's soft.
They don't want to
and blobby. It's awful. It's like
it's like Revell.
Put another piece in.
But Revell is the same though. Revell don't care about pilots, and I think this is I think one of the biggest changes you're going to see in the next 5 years with scale modeling is the fact that when they're going to be if manufacturers would want you to buy the pilots, the stands, everything separate, they're going to give you the kit. I don't think pilots are going to be a big thing.
Oh, you know,
actually, in the Tamiya F35A, the 72nd one they've just released, there's a really nice pilot figure, you know, with the weird, like slightly larger helmet with actually heads-up display on it. They also put a set of masks in there, canopy masks for the canopy, and they do by far and away the best, electrical optical tracking system on that. So I don't know, Academy as well. They include pilots, but it's hit and miss. Some they do and some they don't. But really nice ones, you know, where you have your body, head sometimes separate as well, separate arms, some holding, some not holding the controls. So I don't know. I think it's value add.
Their hands on their knees.
Well,
yeah, that's it. I mean, Tamiya Academy goes through the, and I think Hasegawa as well. I've done the figures which have the central body. They have two separate arms, and the arms are molded. Some of them actually supply two arms. One has the control stick molded in it, so you can just put it on like he's flying it, and the other one doesn't, so it's just resting on the controls. Rather than, like you say, like they're sitting on the toilet with their hands on their knees.
I'd say the only positive about, or a major positive about them having their hands on their knees is that they can reuse the same pilot like scan for different models. Like for the Airfix one in their World War II aircraft or British aircraft, for example, they can use them for the majority.
But that's something they don't do. Airfix directly told us they don't do that because it doesn't work for all of their different aircraft.
No. They told us that on the day, didn't they? They said, I can do fuselages, but when it comes to pilots, what they have to do is get a sculpture artist in to sculpture it, and then they shrink it down to the size that they want. It's not done by...
Look at the Tamiya 1/32 scale Mosquito.
Yeah.
Which is vastly overpriced, in my opinion. But they give you seated pilots, pilot and navigator, and they give you standing pilot and navigator, and they give you a ladder so you can have them posed getting in the aircraft. You know, it's like, come on.
But how much more? But then, Nigel, you're saying that kit is overpriced.
200 quid. 220 quid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But part of the pricing is the fact that they've given you 4 molded figures for that kit. Where Airfix would rather slash the price for a tenner and let you go and find your own pilot, because as they've been rightly saying, and I didn't really pick it up until it was mentioned in one of the days, that they go to loads of scale model shows, and 90% of the models, and this is a tank, 90% of the models that are on show at scale model shows have it with gearing down and no pilot, because they want to be able to let you see inside the cockpit.
Yeah.
So and I understand, as I know, Becker's models, he loves doing in flight, doesn't he? Bless him. And he does some phenomenal. And this is his bugbear is that one, they don't come with stands, and secondly, they don't come with pilots anymore. That this trend with no pilots is being seen from a lot of people now, and it's like I think, if I'm right, including Kamigo, is that how many cars, scale model cars, come with a driver? Very few scale model cars comes with a driver. So, yeah.
The bomb does.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, the bomb bug puzzle. Yeah, you know. Well, they wanted James May in it, didn't they? So that's what it was.
All the 1/32 scale cars come with a driver.
No.
I know.
Well, that was a vintage classic as well.
Car that had a figure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
my Aston, this one here, 132 hours. That doesn't come with a figure, does it? I don't think
that's not GT. That's not a classic.
No, this is the 1/32 one. This is the original, not the one not the new one.
Oh, that is a classic, is it?
This is a classic. Does it come with a figure? I know the Ford GT didn't come with a figure. Look at the instructions. No, it doesn't come with a figure according to the instructions. So the Ford GT I built didn't come with a figure either, a car figure. What else? What else have I got here? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this start set. Oh,
these come with a figure.
This one doesn't come with a figure either. Did that one come with a figure? Oh, look at that!
Bloody hell.
Wow. They haven't got that tool, I don't believe.
The instructions have one step. On the side, it says fit the exhaust, fit the suspension up. That's how I learned to read.
Yeah.
Today they're made for stupid people.
Let's have a look at this one.
Yes, right. 3 steps.
No figure in this one either. This one here doesn't come with a driver or nothing in that one.
Right.
So I can see the point. You know, the argument for and against it, obviously. But, you know, yeah. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's going to be a debate that's going to rage on until the cows come home, whether you put pilots in or in these things or not.
Okay.
Here you go. Hugh Gordon, are we losing sight of the hobby? 1/72 kits were fiddles when I was 7, 50 years ago. All model kits in any scale are fiddlers by nature. Yeah, it's a shame. €90 for the new Machi 202 1/32 scale. Pretty pricey.
It is nice.
Quid here, I think.
Who's that? Which one's that?
It's an Airy.
Oh, that's a lovely kit.
Yeah.
It's a lovely kit.
Yeah. That's that one.
How much is it? How much is it retail, Alex?
It does come with photo etch though, and 2 sets of decals. Well, 3 sets of decals actually. So,
is it worth the money?
I'll tell you when I've actually started it. I mean, it looks pretty good. I would be tempted to say it's worth. I think if you saw it for slightly reduced, I wouldn't hesitate. It looks pretty good.
I want
got
one.
Full engine, got armament and stuff.
I won't pay the money for it.
Yeah. What's it? Exploring Unseen, Tamiya Extra Thin, or Revell Contactor, which has got the needle, or I prefer using, believe it or not, the Humbro Precision Poly. I actually like that one. I feel that the bottle feels better in your hand than like the loaded weapon that you get with the Contactor. You know what I mean? So I like a rounded thing to push. So aren't many Revell kits rebox Hasegawa? Yes, they are. They all intermingle. Is what I'm saying. Everybody's bemoaning that Airfix's K2 KT Lorry is Academy. No, it's Airfix designed. All Academy did was make the tooling and produce it. It's all Airfix, baby. It's just they just use Academy to make the tool for them.
If Airfix designed it, why has it got photo etch in it and no Airfix kit has photo etch?
I think it was part of the deal. I think they said to Academy, "This is what we want." Da 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 da. They went off and did the tooling. Probably came back to them and said, "Well, we've got a photo etch machine here. That piece on the front we better off as photo etch. We'll put it in for free. Thank you very much."
Right. Okay. Another thing on that.
Also, Nigel, if you actually speak to Dan about this, he's very, very insistent that there's no chance in hell Academy will ever release that KT vehicle under their name, because Airfix own that tool outright, unless they come up with some sort of license agreement for them to rebox it for themselves. That's Airfix own vision. They just created the tooling for them, and it's their plastic in box. Yeah. But that's the same as Revell. Revell have done the same with a lot of their Boeing, Airbus planes. They've all done the tooling is Academy made. An Academy part of the deal of them making that tooling is to manufacture it for them and put it in a Revel box. But unless they come to an agreement with Revell, they will never put that model in their colours. You see what I mean?
I thought the Revell Boeings were Zvezda.
No, Zvezda used the Revell ones. I thought it's the other way around, isn't it? They may have done
some Zvezda stuff. Yeah,
the 747.
Revell do some of everybody's stuff. Let's face it.
7478 and the 787 are definitely Zvezda.
Are they Korea though? Is it Korea on the box? Is Korea on the box? It's made in the Academy. Anything with Korea on the box is Academy. And there's
on this note with Revell reboxing, you've got to be very, very careful, because if you take their BF 110C in 32nd scale, it was originally a Dragon kit. It's not a Dragon reboxing. Revell have borrowed Dragon's tooling, so therefore it's full of sink marks.
I'm pretty sure the Airbus 321 Neo is Korean.
Right, the Airbus may well be, but I think the Boeings are Zvezda.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure they are.
Oh no, this was made in Poland, so this might be a Zvezda one as well. Then,
if it's made in Poland, it could well be
Zvezda.
I'm not sure if the Zvezda Revell Boeings are made in Poland or made in Russia.
Well, I heard on the grapevine that there's a lot of Zvezda kits were made in Poland and reboxed, and they do all the plastic there. Then it all gets shipped to Russia, and they rebox it with Russia for Zvezda. I'm sure that's the case, but
there's obviously something going on with them, because the AN 225 was something between the two of them. Yeah, John, you're right. Revell kits are reboxed. Everyone's.
Yeah. No one complains about Tamiya using the Tallery kits because Tamiya advertise it on their boxes, unlike Revell, who use water, is cheapest at the time and hide it. Oh, use whatever is cheapest. Yeah.
Water.
I just realised that the old is it autocorrect, did it? So they say that they never build anything other than inset brand here are the exception, not the rule. I don't know. I get a lot of people, and I suppose you do as well, Nigel, who will say to you, I won't touch Mr. Craft, I won't touch Revell, I won't touch Airfix. I get them all the time because I say to them, I'll tell you what, I'll challenge you. I'll even buy you the fucking kit. Build me an Airfix kit from the last 6 to 8 years, and then come back to me and tell me it's complete dog shit. Because one, you'll still be talking out your ass, because there's no dog shit kits with Airfix from the last 6 to 8 years that's been designed. Oh, yeah, I get that, right? Okay, I'm just saying. But my point is that on the whole, they are, if they're being manufactured, I said quality control again. If they're done properly, that will be it. But every kit I've built from Airfix in the last 6 that's been designed and built in the last 6 years, 8 years, have been great. Yes, I've had ones where the wings have been. The Chipmunk, I know Gary's stuff had a nightmare with his Chipmunk, and that was because the locating pins were just a shade too long, weren't they? You had to snip them off, didn't you? But that's by and by. So
Seeking, if you told me that was a Tamiya kit, I would have believed you. Other than the sponsons, I don't know if you had a problem with yours, Alex. I had a nightmare getting my sponsons together. I think it was a dodgy roll because the rest of the kit is so good. I can't see why the sponsons would be bad. But,
the only issue I had was with the top of the engine.
Sorry?
The only issue I had was with the top of the engine. Cowling there.
What, here?
Yep.
Wow. Mine's gone together like a dream. There's no filler or anything in there. Just all.
No, I didn't use any filler on the kit at all.
I have around those panels you have to put into blocking the window. I don't know if you saw my video. I did a whole video on making those holes invisible rather than seeing the panel where the window was. And a little bit of Mr. Servicer around the canopy. That's it.
You had short shot on yours, didn't you? Because I showed Nigel that picture of that short shot when I was in Avon, when I saw him there. It was Alex's. He had short shot on the bit there.
Yeah, it was down there, wasn't it? Down the front there. Yeah. Yeah, I had no problems with this at all.
Yeah,
this was only and a lot of people picked it up.
So I didn't even notice until the thing was together. I was putting the transparencies, and I'm like, "Why is that side different?" And it's just like, "Oh shit."
But then I had the same problem as Meteor. I actually gave up on this one and built another one, and it went together absolutely fine. It wouldn't come together at the front. I spent an age. I fettled it, everything. And the worst thing is that I put it together, dry fitted it. Well, that's good. And then when I glued the top in, I couldn't get the bottom to go round. And then I thought, well, hang on, it dry fitted all right. What have I done wrong? So I gently wheezed it apart, had a look, cut a little bit off, put it together. In the end, I ended up filling it. And then I thought, fuck it. So I just bought another one. You know, I've used that now as a buster to try paint.
But I think to the point of the James, who's put the comment up there. That's the thing, is like with an Airfix kit, 3 of us could build it and have different experiences. If we all built the same Tamiya kit, we would probably all have exactly the same experience.
Yeah. The problem I had, James, was the front of the undercarriage bay that goes in. It's the first step in the instructions. It goes across and then down at the ends was bowed. So it wouldn't actually go in. And I was worried that it was going to stop something going in from above. So I had to bend it all and straighten it all out. That was the only reason. That was the only problem I had. I mean, I've only done the wings and stuff, but it's basically a paint deal for the outlaw paints, but I'm doing a proper build rather than like a starter set build.
Just going back to the starter sets, right, or the bog standard 1/72 scale of Airfix, you cannot go wrong with the Stuka in 1/72. That is an absolute dream to build. I think that's one of the best 72nd scale Stukas that is out there. And people are also raving about the Messerschmitt 109. Now, the 1/72 scale Spitfire Mark V, not the starter set version, but the full build version, the classic version as they call it. I had the same issue with Modeling Weekly with the canopy on the top. I couldn't get it to fit right on the top. But again, it's that quality, isn't it? You know, how is the plastic being cared for once it's left that fucking tool? That is the grit that I have. I don't care about starter set paints, right? We know.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I built these from Aldi, and the starter set paints were absolutely fine. Great. And I got a really good... I used a flat brush. I didn't use the normal brush they gave you. I did it with, the 2 coats with the brush they gave me in the box. Then I went over it again with the flat brush. Okay. The paints are absolutely fine, right? But I can see why people get pissy when it's definitely that point. What is happening with that plastic as it's left the tool in? I think it just gets chucked in a box, bang, bang, comes out the machine, falls down to the bottom of the machine and hits the bottom. And then also they come up, they pick them all up then, and then they go in this bottom with one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these. Whereas we've seen that it can be done where they box or they bag that as soon as it comes off, they inspect it, they look at it, break it in half, put it together in a bag, sealed, next part. And they do that in 45 seconds. That's what I'm seeing. And until Airfix decide, and I think that the company, they've been with them for years. They pulled all their tooling out of China to go to India. And then, but you've got people now going back to China. Tamiya are now sending their kits to China. Tamiya kits are now made in China. Because I suppose a lot of them are.
Are they? I thought they were made in the Philippines.
No, I was told that a lot are going to China. Where does
it there, James?
Yeah.
Does it say made in China?
Philippines.
With the relationship Japan's
made in the Philippines,
I wouldn't have thought they would do that, Moss, to be honest. They're not the best.
I read somewhere that they're now shipping tool into China because it's cheaper.
I agree with Nigel. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have a look. Hang on.
Everything else is made in China. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, the trouble is the Chinese can copy it.
Yes.
Can copy the tool.
They will.
Can copy everything.
Well, this one's made in Japan, so that's me buggered on that argument. Right. I was told that they were shipping tool into China because I was watching one of the American lot, and they had an article up saying that even Tamiya are now moving production to China because they can get the materials there.
That's made in Japan.
Yeah.
Nigel might be a while.
That little
I can check some of mine.
But was made in Japan. Have you built this, Alex?
No.
No.
I've got one in the shop, but
I'm just going to build mine now. There we go.
what I was really surprised is the Italieri F-35 is more expensive than the Tamiya one.
What, the 48 scale?
Really?
No. I don't know what's going on with Italeri. Their pricing has just gone through the roof. I bought that Nancy Pelter from them. It was like over £200, and it's dog shit. It's absolute dog shit.
Mine are both. These two are both made in Philippines.
Yeah. I've seen some from Tamiya incorporated in Irvine, California.
I thought they would.
That's where their headquarters are.
I think it's probably the RCs that are being made in China.
Is it the RC? Is it the RC? Is it?
Yeah.
What a kit this thing is.
Yeah.
But then it's like the all singing, all dancing RC Tiger tank you can get. You can get them in China. You can get them from China for 150 quid.
Yeah.
What's Tamiya? Tamiya, 150 quid.
No, you can get. Oh, there's a company called Henglong. You'll see them on eBay.
Yeah.
And they do. Well, basically, I've got a Challenger upstairs. Again, it's got a smoke generator, sound generator, and an operational gun.
Yeah.
It fires BB pellets.
It's not a patch on Tamiya quality.
No, but it's half the price.
They're over £1,000. Some of those kits now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Their Abrams is like it's about £1,200. God's sake.
Maybe I was wrong then. I'm sure that I read somewhere that they had shipped out kits to that ships out tooling to China to make.
Well, put it this way, Moss. You know the big 200 scale Yamato?
Yeah.
That's made by Trumpeter.
Okay.
You cannot buy that kit with Trumpeter's name on it. It's Glow 2B in Europe.
Yeah.
It's something else I can't remember now in America, and it's something else in the rest of the world. Because Trumpeter will not put their name to a Japanese product.
Really?
If you go and buy a Japanese, I can't like a hovercraft, like a landing craft, and Trumpeter made a mod of it. And if you go and buy one, if you look on our scale mod, then he built one, he did an unboxing, and somebody's put a black magic marker through the Japanese rising sun.
Yeah, they're not particularly fond of each other.
Okay, I get that wrong then. I get that wrong. I thought, as I said, I thought that with everything that was going on, that they were coming at all. Maybe I read that wrong then. You know,
I think I know it's very much like the Germans as far as engineering goes. Very, very proud.
They are, but I say when I worked for a Japanese company, they produced in Japan, the US, and Germany. And they had a massive deal with China to basically to supply China with water conditioners, like the whole of China. It was millions and millions. So they set up a factory in China, and they were super worried about the Chinese quality, you know, about Chinese workers not being able to do to the same quality. The Chinese factory produced the best instruments out of any of the factories. They were better than the Japanese ones.
Was it managed by the Japanese, though?
Well, the Japanese always have a Japanese manager, a co-manager. So every factory had two. But yeah, it's interesting. They don't like each other, but if they have to, they will work together.
Well, the Nissan Leaf's built in China.
All most Fords in America are built in China now.
Yeah.
As are most electric BMWs are built in China because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Same with most things, though. It's cheaper in Asia and South America. It's where the cheapest labour is.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So maybe it's the RC stuff that was China. Some of the stuff for the RC market was China. So maybe I read that wrong then. I just looking for the video now. But
I wouldn't be surprised, Moss, if it's like Alex said. It may be that their market in China is growing because people are getting more ready money to spend.
Yeah.
And it could be that China have basically said to them, if you want to continue selling here, you're going to have to put some money into this country, and it might be what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what. Yeah.
I'd be scared stiff of them copying.
It could even have been the Italy kits manufactured in China, then shipped over to Japan and reboxed as Tamiya. I don't know. It was just it seemed a little bit. I heard it and I kind of thought, well, that's interesting if they're going out there. But if there is a historical reason why they don't, then understand. But
I'll tell you a funny thing. You mentioned Italieri there, which just reminded me. Do you know the stands that Tamiya Paint goes in at shops?
Yeah.
They're made in Italy. I'm just like, why? Yeah, because apparently there's a bit of a shortage of them because the Italian manufacturer couldn't make them for a while or whatever. So they had to get a new batch and stuff. So but it's like, why on earth are Tamiya paint stands made in Italy?
I hope they don't use the dodgy steel to make the racks.
The Italians, well, of course not.
They're handmade in Venice.
All right, I'm going to log off, guys. It's good fun today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice seeing you, mate. You take care, my friend.
Hopefully, I'll be on next week, but Connor's starting back up, so I don't know. But cheers. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Good seeing you, dude. See you later.
So, John Parker's put in an opinion. I think the main reason Tamiya constantly have consistent quality is all down to the workers' build methods. They must be doing something everyone else still needs to learn.
Yes.
Well,
SOPs.
But like you said, we were talking about before. It's all about price. India is very cheap labor, but with if you pay peanuts, do you know what I mean? As I said, did you not believe how annoyed I was when I saw that glass scratched on the brand new tooling in its own separate bag? Now I've got somebody's told me about a product that apparently will take those scratches out by using one thing. I'll try it out later and see what it's like. But
wash it out with toothpaste.
Yeah, well, this stuff here they call it.
How deep is it?
It's called Polywatch. It's a product called Polywatch.
Right.
And apparently you rub it on and obviously you rub it on. But where's the glass to? Well,
he's going to do it live on camera.
No, I'm not. No, in case it goes wrong.
Go on, Moss.
There you go. Is that the one? No, that's not the one.
Yeah, what John's on about here is standard operating procedures, which is something I think the rest of the world is bad at, and the Japanese are amazing at. You go into factories in this country. I've worked in a few: Rolls-Royce, Delphi, Prima, and everybody has their own way of doing things. And it's like in Japan, it's like, no, this is how you do it.
But it's not. This isn't a new thing. I mean, I've worked for companies, American companies mainly after the Japanese one, and they all have been successful because they've implemented those same things from. I mean, they were from the 80s that started, the 90s. Like you say, the Toyota way, Kaizen, continuous improvement, Gemba evidence, all that sort of stuff. So, where's the scratch?
Yeah. Do you see that on there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christ.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
What she said.
Gone right across it as. Little mint. I can't seem to get it close enough. And
bloody hell.
It's. Yeah. I did it on a bit of white paper with white paper. I say I got anything black.
Yeah, black will probably show.
Oh yeah, black would be good, wouldn't it? Try on the camera. Hang on, let me just get myself back on solo layout again.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, see all that?
Yeah,
it's all scratch. And that was in its own separate bag. Don't worry, the front's fine. The front's absolutely, look at that, you can see through it. But it just, I was, It's like, why?
Is that one sprue or is that two separate sprues?
No, it's one sprue.
Oh, right, okay.
So obviously
it went in then.
It was gone in the bag. So this is the bag it was in, and it was in the bag. And as you see, and if I'll do that. So it's in the bag. It was folded over as well, like that, in the bag. But there's no hose or anything. That has been scratched before it went in the bag.
They're probably taking them out of the mold tool and chucking them in a box.
In a box, yeah.
They're all scratching each other, and then they get them out and put them in a separate bag.
Yeah.
So those scratches are perfectly preserved.
Yeah. So I've got this poly watch, which apparently is a polish, and they reckon that you buff this using a Q-tip or a ear thingy, and it kind of burns into the plastic and fills in the hose as well.
I test it on something else from you, Moss.
Right, I'm going to go straight on this. I've already got the pictures for it.
What we've got there is styrene. It's a lot softer.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that my argument is this. I've taken the pictures. You can see it on the video. I'm going to ask for a replacement, which is going to cost them £3 to send me a replacement. Now, is the savings on a £3 part really worth it doing it out of India where there's no quality control?
No. I don't understand the thing about producing in India and saving money, because if you know how much plastic costs and they're turning a kit out every 45 seconds, if they've got enough machines, the actual cost of what you're getting in that box, the physical cost, without all the research and all the development and all that, is probably on an £80 kit, it's probably about £3. The actual physical cost.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in producing it in England?
Yeah. The thing. Yeah.
How much does it cost to get a tool shipped as well from? Because it goes from China to India. Would the price be the same as going China to India? Whether all the tooling of everything's made in China, isn't it?
That's negligible.
Is it cheaper?
The tooling, it's not a lot.
I mean, the tools are many, many thousands of pounds each, if they're decent quality, which by the CK, they certainly appear to be good quality.
Yeah. Again, but lack of quality control. Apparently,
quality control, exactly.
I've got, and it's not even just the cost that they're saving in the production of the kits. That they're then losing on all of the customer complaints, replacement. It's the reputation bit. So we've all talked now about Airfix need to have consistent quality, and that Tamiya have that consistent quality, and that's how they built their name. It's like, what is the damage that's happening to Airfix? Because people are like, oh, like you said, Nigel, I got a warped Hurricane, so I'm never touching another Airfix kit, even though everybody said it was good. My experience wasn't. And then that's not just one kit that they're not selling. That person will never buy Airfix for however long it takes them to get that, which is going to be variable between, a year and forever, depending on who they are. So I think the reputational damage is almost worse than the lack of savings, because they're having to replace parts, which isn't going to be cost effective. So it's false economy, I think.
I mean, I've got 3 kits on the bench here. I've got the Sea King, and I reckon the sprue with the sponsons on was dodgy, because I had a nightmare, and Alex just said he hasn't had a nightmare. So
yeah, no.
We're both good modelers.
In fact, those sponsons, Nigel, I almost didn't need to use glue on them, because they just fit together, almost like press fit.
I had to clamp and squeeze and squash the living. I had to take loads of material off the side of the actual undercarriage base because they wouldn't physically fit in there. I think I had some flat screws, but I've got that one here. I've got the Hurricane that had the bent part in the wheel bay and one wing shorter than the other. I've got the Hellcat here, which I've had a complete and utter nightmare, and I think that's because the upper wing is all misshapen. And I've got the Anson down there I bought off of James. I've had to have a new clear sprue for that because the clear parts were crap. I've got 3 Typhoons in the door in the room next to me, and they've all had to have new canopies because the canopy had that great big sink in the top of it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Airfix.
So this is where we come to the point where actually Tamiya is still king, because they've got the quality right,
But
the complete control right. But
you compare Tamiya with the likes of Border Model. Forget the Lancaster, because the Lancaster is not a Border Model product.
Okay.
But that Border Model Stuka and their FW189, yet the instructions are a load of shit, but the actual kits themselves are absolutely stunning. And the other thing is, look how many kits the likes of Trumpeter, Border Model, ICM, Edward, all these other companies are banging out all these models. Tamiya aren't producing anything. Was it a new kit every 6 months?
Yeah, they're jumping on board the Katie wagon, but they're doing it in 1/48th scale.
Sorry?
They're jumping on the Austin Katie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in 1/48th scale.
Their 48th range.
Yeah.
It'll be nice.
So what price is it for 148 compared to 135th?
Don't know. Probably be more expensive.
How much are the tanks, James?
I haven't bought one for a while, but I think they're about. I think the last one was that I brought was the Nash on. That's about 26 quid.
So I imagine the Katie would be similar to that then, 26, 27 quid. How much is the Airfix one, Moss?
It 33. Was 33, wasn't it?
Was it? So it's going to be close.
But there will be a difference though, because they've paid a licensing fee for that KT.
Right.
Tamiya haven't.
Right.
Yeah. Tamiya will call it World War II ambulance.
Yeah.
Well, they've done it before.
As well. When Alex and I were having that conversation, I looked. Scale Model Shop Leeds does that F35 for 63 quid. How the hell are they doing that?
I have no idea how they're doing that.
Yeah. Unless they've got old stock. And when I got mine, it was about £85. I'm sure of it. When they first came out, they were like £85.99.
Just look at the price of the. Are they given a price yet for the Tamiya one yet or not?
No, they haven't.
Let's look at Scalemates. There's always somebody there puts the price in there. Jadland reckon they're going to sell it for 20 quid, that 148.
There we go then.
But again, there's no license for it. It just says British 2-ton 4x2 ambulance. And then in brackets, somebody's put Austin K2Y in brackets underneath. And they're doing it for...
Are you telling me, Moss, that you'll happily pay Airfix more money just because they've got a license to put Austin on the box? Are you telling me that if Airfix hadn't got a license and that kit was 29 quid, that wouldn't be okay? I personally don't care.
Well, it's like the Mung GT40, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't say Ford, does it?
Doesn't say Ford, does it? It's cheap as chips.
Whereas Tamiya, you see, they've done the Ford Mustang and everything. That's officially Ford licensed product. So it goes both ways.
It does. That's what I mean. It's like, Dale said that they paid a lot of money for that license, and then Gecko released it. And Gecko released it as a, World War II Princess Elizabeth or whatever it was, and basically screwed the market over. And Dale was mightily peeved about that. So, but do Tamiya? Have they got license? Do they put? I suppose that isn't a licensed product then.
No,
but it depends
none of Tamiya's vehicles are licensed for their armor. Are licensed because they're obviously the Opel Blitz isn't known as an Opel. It's just known as a German
cargo truck, isn't it?
Cargo truck.
But
obviously
surely,
the Chevy 6x6 is known as a US Army 6x6 truck. Even the Humber Mark IV armored car and the Daimler Dingo.
Yeah, but the argument with all this is if those models are accurate, then surely the people who hold the license should be going after Tamiya and saying, "You're reproducing this kit.
Nope.
Give us the money."
Nothing you could do.
I don't think there's any legal basis for that, Moss. It's just like making a scale. I mean, I don't get the whole licensing thing anyway. I think it's all bollocks. But making a reproduction of something isn't illegal. If you were to call it and say, this is an officially sanctioned product of, or this represents Ford or something, then yeah, that's a different thing. But to just say, oh, I've made an Opel Blitz from World War II, who's going to come after you for that?
Opel.
Yeah, Opel
because they still exist.
Yeah, but why would? Well, I mean, they don't, do they? It's General Motors.
I've never understood it. Why would Opel be offended that somebody's made something that they made 50 years ago and put it in a box in 24 scale? Who cares? I take that as a compliment.
Well, as I was just saying, it's like, in my latest article on Substack, I was talking about the space race, and the fact I said, why don't Airfix create a Dragon SpaceX Falcon 9 with a Dragon on top? And I said, and just call it Mars Rocket. Just call it Mars Rocket, but design it for that, because Gecko Models will do that anyway. You know what I mean?
They did with the 2001 Space Odyssey Space Clipper. They lost the license, or they didn't renew the license for it, so they just called it Space Clipper.
Yeah.
And omitted 2001 because they couldn't put that anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Does it make any difference?
I've never understood it. It's like all of a sudden the Tamiya Le Mans cars, they stopped coming with tire decals because Goodyear got funny about it.
But that's what I mean. If
why do you need a license for a Goodyear name on a bloody toy car tires? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, that's why they don't put Dunlop on the tires on the Airfix. On that Scout, I put a review up because I was at Bovington when Dale was there, and he had the Scout there, so I had a good look at it, took some pictures. And somebody said, "Oh, that's crap. Hasn't got Dunlop on the tires. Just cutting corners." but Dunlop would come after him because they want their 10 pence worth out of the sale of the kit.
Well,
what I'm saying is if Tamiya is willing to do it with this stuff, then bring back a lot of those Formula One cars that they will not re-release because they can't get the license, like the Williams and stuff. They won't re-release them because they haven't got the license for them.
They are bringing them back out slowly.
Yeah, but they're not caught back.
Around the Brabham, haven't they?
Yeah. They couldn't get the license for a long time.
I
gather.
But it's like I've made that Hobby Boss Scammell Tank Transport has no spare wheel or Scammell badge for the grill. So I've made the spare wheel and the Scammell badge for the grill.
Oh, fair play.
I'm worried about someone coming after me. So what I've done, I'll sell them the spare wheel. If you buy a spare wheel, you get a free Scammell badge.
Yeah.
If anybody does get funny, I haven't made anything because it's free.
But there are laws in the land about copyright and licensing. Branding is such a big thing.
Yeah.
And if you are going to put, even now, I think if you look at Sherman Firefly, isn't there a warning on here saying that which one was it? One of them's got one of the tanks. Was it the Jeep?
It's the Jeep.
Yes, the Jeep's got a license on it, hasn't it? You have to license
Jeep's
that.
trademarked.
Jeep's trademarked, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Jeep is a trademark. So they've had to, there it is, Jeep. So they've had to get the license. So you wouldn't see a Jeep badge on a Tamiya one now, I guess. They could build that, or redo it, but they wouldn't be able to have Jeep on it because
the most amazing thing is, Moss, I've got a real one of those, and it doesn't have Jeep written on it anywhere. It wasn't even called.
No, quarter-ton utility vehicle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a G503. I think it was G503, and it was either made by Willys or Ford. It was a Ford GPW or a Willys MB. They gave it a name, but no one really knows why. General purpose vehicle, they say, GP. So, it's mental.
But it all adds to the price that Airfix have had to pay to get that Austin to market.
And they had to pay China for that.
I don't know why they've done it. I don't know why they've licensed it.
Because they're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I could understand if it's a company that's still existing, like Jeep.
Is that true, Owen? I never knew that.
Yeah.
Wow. Can I sue Germany for killing my great uncle then in the war? By
the thing is, GM, right, who own Opel, are an American company. So I think that was probably just some American who thought, hang on a minute, I can make a fast buck here.
Yeah. So we come to an agreement then that Tamiya is still king of the hill then, by all this account.
No. I wouldn't agree with that.
You wouldn't agree with that?
I think probably the best plastic model kit ever made for fit, quality, presentation is probably Tamiya's 32nd scale F4U Corsair. Would you agree, Alex?
I've
never done one. So
I haven't done one. I've got one. But I've seen them built, and when you listen to people that have built them, it's just
But it's not a Goodyear one, is it? Goodyear Corsair.
No, we could argue this calculation. As I said, I think scale modeling is caught up. Just one of the question was side molding. Do Tamiya do a lot of side molding in their kits now? So I can't think of any
Not that I know
side
of.
molded.
No.
I think they do on some of the armor for the barrels. They slide mold.
I know Wingnut Wings never did. Wingnut Wings never did any slide molding.
Yeah. We've had a super chat from Taggers. Moz car auction. Does Moz come as a driver? No, he doesn't. No, there's no auctions tonight, I'm afraid. No auctions tonight. Because I haven't been upstairs. Let's have a look.
That's slide molded. Definitely.
Yeah, that's side molded, isn't it? Yeah. And which kit's that?
This is the F35. Is this their latest release, Alex?
What, the 48th scale?
Yeah.
No.
Because Airfix won't use side molding because one, it's very expensive, and two, if there's ever a problem with a tooling, it's the side molding.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I've used you've used slide molding for years to do the Hornby have used slide molding for years to do the Steam logos.
Yeah.
So they know if there's issues with it.
Well, Dragon have been promising us a BF 109 all side molded, haven't they? But I've never seen that come to fruition. Have you?
Well, Dragon have slide molding technology on all their boxes, don't they?
Yeah. Allegedly.
The thing is, it's whether it's fit for purpose, isn't it? It's just like, why would you do something all slide molded if you didn't have to? I mean, one of the great advantages of CAD is that you can design things that actually don't need slide molding, so you can use more reliable, more standard techniques. Nobody should try to use the most complex manufacturing method available. Quite the opposite, you know.
Having said that, though, Alex, if you look at your Sea King here, there is no riveting detail, paneling detail, nothing. That's because they haven't used slide molding. If they'd have slide molded that, they could have got the detail in there. So if you look at your Sea King, as it runs up the side, it all just stops. Not that it matters.
Interesting.
But if they'd slide molded that, and they've made the belly separate so you can get all the detail in there, which is cool. Mm-hmm. If they'd slide molded the fuselage halves, they could have got the detail in there. So
they could have, but then they could have also designed it with a separate piece, you know, on top, so they could have just molded it standard
with a seam line around the edge. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all compromise, isn't it? And that's what it is. It's like you use slide molding for the pieces that need slide molding rather than just saying everything should be slide molded. It's like, well, why would you do that? It's like saying that, you know, we're going to make all our deliveries out of Formula One cars. It's like, well, why? That's ridiculous.
You see, Border Model made the Stuka in 1/35th scale, and that fuselage is slide molded with a vertical tool and slide molded in both sides, which is why it has the most beautifully detailed fuselage I've ever seen. And it's got positive rivets, it's got recessed rivets, and recessed panelings. So, again, quality versus cost.
Yeah.
And slide molding puts the cost up.
But does it really make it would that brings to the point again, £99 for that. Because it's got a side molded, but when you can still get the same degree, I suppose, of accuracy in that if it isn't side molded.
Well, and the other thing is, Moss, are you going to sell enough of those slide molded kits to recoup your costs?
And if it's a failure point, and if it's a high failure point.
Yeah, but Airfix have a policy, I don't know if you know this, Moss, of recouping the costs of all of their new tools within 1 year.
Right.
See, Airfix don't.
What do you mean Airfix don't?
They will get it back in 1 year.
No, that's their policy.
Well,
that's their requirement. Yep.
Airfix. I thought it said Tamiya.
No, that's Airfix.
See, I don't understand Airfix pricing policy. I mean, why was the Buccaneer 79 or 80 quid, whatever it was, and yet the Spitfire was £95? Surely, if you're going to base on the Buccaneer, sure, that Spitfire should have been 130 quid. And then this comes out, and it's 50 quid. It's like,
I honestly, Alex, I'm sure that they don't do it in the first year. I didn't know that was their.
They told me on that press day, Moss. I had a long conversation with Chris about the whole stuff.
Because I was when I've heard the conversations from Airfix, they've said that they recoup the price over releases. That's why they release a different like the Canada Sabre. They brought it out and then they released it a year later with new schemes straight away. A year later,
new schemes, new wings, etc.
New wings.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. I thought you said Tamiya, not Airfix. Sorry, I misheard you then. But I honestly thought that was the.
I was surprised when Chris said it, because we were talking about management of companies and stuff, and he was saying that's the policy at the moment, is that they recoup costs within 1 year. So you might wait a year, you might see the F-35 in Lidl.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Is it something they do?
Well, honestly, that really does, because I got the impression they don't look for. It's not, the Hellcat, for instance. It wasn't success overnight. It's £100,000 worth of tooling, and it took years to recoup that back.
Yeah, when was the Hellcat made?
2017, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was made before the Phoenix purchase.
Really? No, it wasn't. It was made during the Phoenix purchase, because that's when Lyndon was the one who said, "Why aren't we releasing this kit? Let's get it out there. Let's release this Hellcat to show people that we're back."
Yeah, but it would have been developed. Most of the costs of that would have been developed pre-Phoenix, so that wouldn't have been a policy that would have applied to it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's got some serious design issues that the Spitfire certainly doesn't have. You're getting those
maybe
wings.
It's a transitional kit.
Sorry?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a transitional kit.
I mean, it's a gorgeous model, don't get me wrong, but...
Yeah. Hellcat was a 2019 release, but I think we knew about it in 2017.
Right.
Because that was when James May did his video, didn't he?
Yeah.
Actually, it must have been previous, because I have a very close relationship with Peter at Airscale.
Yeah.
And all the Airfix releases, he used to get the instructions and the relevant sprue so he could make the cockpit update sets. And now Airfix will not send anything out to any aftermarket suppliers at all until release date, will they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They said that they want to make it they want to make it level above board for everyone has the chance to do it.
Yeah, because I said to him, please send me instructions, because he had the instructions on a PDF. He said, no, I've signed a document, I'm not sending you anything. I said, go on please. And then the day it was released, midnight, he sent me out. Here they are. Sat on my computer with the instructions. And then went to Antic the next morning and got my first one. And then bought another two.
Yeah. But when it comes to secrecy, Airfix have got it nailed. See, years ago, we would be looking for little snippets of what the new iPhone was going to look like. And we know now, 6 months before they even release it, what the iPhone's going to be. Do you know what I mean? With Airfix, I've still got to do my predictions for next year. I've got a few ideas what it might be.
I reckon 24 scale Wildcat for Telford.
I reckon they haven't had a Hellcat for a few years. I reckon they will release either a 1/72 or 1/48 Hellcat, because they do that. They do different scales, and a couple of years later they release another scale with that more. Like, for instance, the Sea King. They did the Sea King 4 years ago, and then they've released now a 48. They did 72. They've done a 48.
But didn't Chris say this has been hanging around for ages, waiting to be released?
Oh no, he didn't say that.
Didn't he say it's been a long, long time in development?
No, I don't think he said that in the interview.
I misunderstood him then.
Yeah.
It's been a long time in development, but it's been recent, hasn't it? Because they were doing a lot of that research during COVID.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but I would say that there's that, and I think there's a Beetle in the starter set range. Definitely a Beetle in the start, and I reckon in the Vintage Classic, I reckon you'll see a hovercraft this year.
Oh,
brilliant! I reckon. If you think about it, they just put the Rotodyne out, and that was nowhere near the top of the list of people who want Vintage Classic. They want the SRN1 or the SRN. What's it called? The what they call it again? What's the class called again?
I went on one of them. I went with my mum to France on one of those things.
Yeah, I did years ago. They made more money on the duty free than they did going across backwards and forwards. They made more money on the duty free. People going on that hovercraft just to get the fags and the tobacco. That's what it was. No word of a lie. But it's the same with Concorde. They made more money selling perfume than they did on the actual flight.
Mm-hmm.
Go
back to this Hellcat, something that is very interesting. The fuselage has got cutouts behind the cockpit for the F6, F3. And they've never released an F6, F3 variant, but the cutout is there ready for you to cut it out and put a clear window in there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them re-release the Hellcat in the Spitfire plastic made in the UK. I bet it would fit together like a glove. Because Jenny, she built the first one, didn't she? She had it on a show.
Yeah.
And I saw that kit and she had some parts to that, and it was proper shiny grey plastic. It wasn't this blue tack crap.
Yeah.
Really nice. I'm so glad they've moved away from that stuff.
Yeah. Talking to 7248 upgrades from Airfix, still waiting for the new ME262. Well, the thing is though, is that you've got to look at what have they released in the outlet store in the last couple of weeks. And also the other outlet stores. They were banging out the old ME262s, weren't they? They were going for a song. So they may be re-releasing a new scheme with the ME262, but they may go for a 48. 72 at the moment. They haven't done a 48, have they? It's a 72 they've done, isn't it?
They've done a 72nd scale 262, and that's it. And
they've not done a 148, so it could be a one, because especially now it'd be a good time to do one, seeing that they've got the repro now flying around the world, haven't they?
Is there a nice 48 scale 262 out there?
Is it
Hobby Boss?
Hobby Boss, isn't it? To a 262.
Is it nice though? Most Hobby Boss is garbage, isn't it?
Well, I think it builds up nicely.
Yeah.
Right.
But
light there.
I would like to see I'm not going to get a Bearcat, so that's a shame. There'll be no Bearcat this year. I'd like to see them retool the Concorde though as well. Concorde is up there, definitely. But I don't think they'll do one.
Would it sell?
I think it would.
Sell?
This is the argument I keep having, right? No, but every man and his dog has spent thousands of pounds on filler to originally build that 1/72nd scale Vulcan, right? And when they brought a new one out, we chucked away our filler, knowing that we're going to get a decent one this time. So why can't they do the same with the Concorde? If they put out Concorde and actually do something a bit random with it, maybe put it and add it with some decent, have all three schemes that you've seen Concord in, maybe even chuck in a Pepsi one somewhere along the line. Get a deal with Pepsi because they've got a deal with Coca-Cola for their quick bills. Do a deal with Pepsi and have the Pepsi decal scheme for that Concord. I reckon that would be.
Can I just say, Ross, I used a shit ton of filler on my Vulcan.
What, on the new one?
Sink marks in the wings. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
But again, again, that was it last year. No, the year before the Avon show. No, it was last year, the first one after COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was there, and there was a guy looking at this Airfix Vulcan. I said, open the box and have a look before you buy it, because there's good ones and bad ones. He opened the first one, and the wings were covered in sink marks. Got another one, opened that one up, and the seller's like, oh my God. Opened that one up, absolutely perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Again, quality control.
Quality control. Yeah, definitely quality control.
Tiger's just flogging that 40 quid on the outlet store, isn't it?
Don't even go there. That fucked me over. That did. Did an unboxing video of the new mystery bundle and put it down to 72.49, and then all of a sudden they go and knock it down to 40 quid. That's like, oh come on!
Did you buy that?
I just really
boo.
Did you buy that?
Yeah, mystery bundle. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, but anyway, people are buying them. Mystery bundle. Because a lot of people say they're really pleased with what they got in their box. So maybe the Vulcans are sending out a good. But you know, the other one was it. That's a question. I would love to see a 124 scale mosquito. Have you seen the prices they were going for at Avon? That mosquito, £200.
I sold one. I sold one between the last, before the last re-release. I sold it for 220 quid on eBay.
They reckon it's a good little kit as well, don't they? They reckon it does go together quite nicely.
Other than the tires, you need resin wheels for the tires are horrible, but the rest of the kit, beautiful. And it's got a pilot.
It is a good kit. I did that one actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a really good kit actually. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you built a 124.
Yeah, it was long. It was a long time before. It was before. It was pre-YouTube, but he's on my Facebook page.
Yeah, it's a nice kit.
Yeah.
David Barber there's asking me, have I got an Airfix Shackleton in your stash you want to auction? No, I have one in my stash, but I hate auctioning the Shackleton. I tell you what I've got, which I might auction off, is the original Airfix Boeing 172 scale. You can have that one. Was it 144? No, 144.
707.
That is 707, the big one. Yeah. I've got that upstairs in my stash. I might list that one, but the decals are buggered on it, I'm afraid. You have to get some new decals for it. But yeah, the TSR2, that'll be good in the video. I was reckon British Classic TRS, I think that'll come out. I think they'll put a hovercraft in there. Starter set, I said Land Rover or Beetle, so Land Rover came out, so the Beetle must be next. But I also think they may do a starter set Wildcat. I like to see a Wildcat as a starter set. And I reckon, because I've never understood with the Wildcat at the moment, which what's it released as again? There's also released as the English version as well. The Grumman, the Marshlet. Whoever designed that I'm glad they're not there now, because why on earth would you decide canopy up or canopy down within 3 steps of the build? That was the worst decision ever. That to fit that undercarriage, you had to build it within 3 steps of starting it. So you couldn't decide at midway through whether you're going to have canopy up or gearing up or gearing down.
I can see that though, because it's so exposed in there, isn't it? It's not just like having a couple of legs going in the wings. It's like a whole boat with all the legs coming out. You've got to.
Yeah. But I think Champion or somebody did one, and they cut it down and did it so that they put it in after.
Oh right.
Because they thought they could put it in after. That we'll skip this step. We'll do it after when they couldn't get it to fit, and they were able to get it to fit in the end. But I don't know of any other kit in recent times that have designed the canopy. You have to decide so early on whether you have it up or down. Never.
The Hong Kong model's A20 in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now. I think that's the second step.
Yeah.
You build the nose gear up, and you decide whether. Well, I don't think you have the option to have it up.
Yeah. No, there is no Corsair. But would Airfix do a Corsair? Because if you listen to what Luke says,
Corsair, please.
All I've ever, they won't. If somebody else has already done it, they tend not to do it. If you see what I mean.
We need a 30-second scale Hellcat. Is what we need.
They won't do 1/32 scale.
No, Tommy needs to bloody do it.
I mean,
I forget how it's all raised panel lines. The trumpeter's a mess.
Yeah.
We need a nice Hellcat at 30-second scale, please.
Yeah. Wayne Welly, there was a
B17.
But that's the price they're going for. If you go on eBay now, the bomb bug is still up for 350 quid.
Dreamers.
I honestly, but to be fair though, Nigel, there were many times after a few scotches and a few little Thatcher's oranges, I would look at that and attempt to buy it because I'd want to build one. It's actually coming together quite well. I'm really pleased with how well it's looking now. So it's not all glued together yet, but it's coming together quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we just take that apart.
Probably older than you, that kit, Moss, isn't it?
It is. It is older than me. It's 1974. I'm 79, baby. I am. I was born. Yeah, but underneath,
Yeah, lovely.
It's all coming to this. Is all
absolutely solidly stiff chassis that didn't flex at all.
No. I would buy it. There was one on eBay went for $9,000 that had been rebuilt for £9,000.
Mm-hmm.
I bid it up to 6,000. I did, and then I thought I can't justify spending any more on it, so it went for 9.5 in the end. But I put $6,000 on it, just to see if it would, and it went to. I put $6,000 in within about an hour. It jumped from 7.5 to 8. So it was.
If they get that popular, I expect somebody will make one because it's so easy to cut the body and the chassis. Cut the bits of bloody probably 40mm box.
Yeah.
Easy to copy.
Yeah, so I hand painted the seats because it was just easier. Spray the whole thing orange. But somebody said to me, which is quite interesting, I didn't think of this. It shouldn't be orange underneath. It shouldn't be black. It should be yellow, but like that grey yellow of fiberglass. And I can't think of a company that does a yellowy grey. Can you? Or a dirty yellow? Because that's what it was underneath. Apparently, it was yellow because the fiberglass was yellow. It was not painted. It was just
fiberglass. Tamiya XF4.
I was just about to say that one.
That's more of a Kevlar sort of colour, but you could knock it back a bit.
Yeah. It seemed like a grey yellow. I might do that actually. I might just go over it with that. But it's
you comes together well. Paint it with XF4 moss, and then make really thin, like 80% thinner, as light grey, and just dust it over it.
Just a good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Fiberglass is kind of. It's not yellow. No. Fiberglass is in itself is white. It's the resin that gives it the yellow tint. So it's sort of.
I spoke to my dad, and he said it's like it's been in a room full of smokers, is what he said. And I thought that's a good.
It's almost the same color as Tamiya tape.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Best masking tape on the planet.
Oh, I could beat you on that one. I'll beat you on that one. There's
try and pronounce it this time, Moz.
Here you go. There's a stuff called Nichiban.
Right.
Nichiban. Mate, I'm not joking with you. It pisses all over Tamiya. I've never had any bleed through with this at all.
What's it to cut for masking?
Lovely, absolutely lovely. It's got a lovely shot. It's got like a satin finish to it, which it's like a waxy. But I was recommended it, and I thought, so I got it from Japan. I'll say, I'll send you up a row. I ended up buying 12 rows in the end because it was cheaper to buy 12 from Japan than just to buy the one. So I bought 12. It worked out cheaper that way. But I'll tell you what, once I used it on what did I use it on? I was on the Concorde, and the line was fucking perfect, mate. I was so blown away with it. It's absolutely fine. And also my bag, because I put it on my hand first, just give it a little, just give a bit of oil on the hand. then put it on. This one, just put it straight on. Didn't peel the paint off or nothing. It was just absolutely stunning. But Tamiya's up there. The other one I use for curves is this one here now from 3M. It's called Vinyl Tape 471 Plus.
Right.
If you want to do curves and stuff, this is really good stuff.
It's probably the same, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's 3M again, isn't it? 3M know their stuff, don't they?
This stuff's really good for general, like if you're like doing a ship and you just want to mask off the bottom of the hole so you spray the sides. I wouldn't ever use that as an edge for painting again, but just for covering general stuff.
Yeah. But this Vinyl Tape 471.
This is Icky Sticky.
Icky Sticky, yeah.
That's like bright orange, that.
Yeah. I reckon Nickerband's better. So, anyways, it's been 2 hours. Crumbs, it's 10:08 or 10:10 already. We've been on it.
Already, are we?
Yeah, that's it now, mate. 2 hours. I've got to go and take the dog out for a walk anyway. You know,
right.
It's time. So, but anyways, thank you for joining us tonight, Nigel, and hopefully come back again sometime.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah,
definitely. It was a good little debate. Again, we've jumped up and down through Tamiya. I think Tamiya is hard to beat, but they're not hard to match if you do things the right way. And like I've said before, I think accuracy. The only thing that knocks Tamiya down is price point. But whether that's because of how greedy we are in this country or the way taxes are and getting it over here. But I still think that they've really soured themselves since 2018 by having this policy where you can't advertise to falsify really the value of what Tamiya really is. But if that's their way of keeping their prices high, then that's the way they do it. So, anyways, that's me done. Anyone else got any questions? Email me in the comments below. Talk to me in the any thoughts on Tamiya. Put them in the comments below, and I will reply. And then again, we'll see you all next week. Thank you all for joining us, and all you in the chat. And as I said, we'll see you next Monday for another Airfix and Chill.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.